somewhere around 75 million years ago. So you were born a Velociraptor. Congratulations. You didn't become an office clerk, you don't sit in traffic jams, and you don't worry about who will pay the mortgage. You are a Velociraptor, one of the fastest, smartest, and, yes, smallest dinosaurs. You hatched from an egg, a little sticky, but already with serious ambitions. You were born in an area that millions of years later would be called Mongolia. Back then, these were semi-arid plains with scattered sparse forests reminiscent of a savanna. The perfect place for hunting, fighting for territory, and running. You hatched from an egg in a cozy nest that your mother built in the sand, covering it with bushes for camouflage. Mom was busy guarding the nest, and Dad, well, to be honest, he probably ran off to hunt, or more likely find a new nest. Velociraptors weren't exactly family-oriented. One of your first discoveries was your toe. It reminded you of something. It was huge, with a curved claw, as if someone had decided you were a natural manicurist. You quickly learned that the world around you was a place of eat or be eaten. You had barely crawled out of the egg, and here was some predatory lizard trying to look into your nest, clearly counting on a free lunch. You hadn't even had time to dry off yet, and you already had to hide behind your mother with a squeal. In the first days, you learned to walk, and then to run. Oh yes, you started running quite early. Your paws are long, strong, and speed is your main trump card. You could accelerate to 40 to 60 kilometers per hour, which is about the same as a good car on a country road. If you had participated in the Olympics, you would have overtaken everyone, and then you would have eaten your rivals. True, you hadn't learned to brake yet, so your first collision with a stone became an unforgettable lesson. There is an opinion that velociraptors had feathers. Well, you don't have them. I didn't draw them so as not to scare people. Oh, childhood. What a wonderful time. You and your brothers chase lizards, kick the eggs of other dinosaurs, and hide from adults. You grow. Your paws become longer, your claws sharper, and your appetite more insatiable. One day, you decided that you were ready to hunt alone. And of course, you chose for your first hunt, a diplodocus. Well, if you're going to dream, you might as well dream big. You crept up on it, hid in the bushes, and made your majestic leap. But the diplodocus didn't even notice your presence. You crashed into its side with all your might, like a fly into a windshield, and flew back into the bushes. Later, you realized that hunting is not only about jumping in claws, but also about strategy. From then on, you preferred more modest prey, like protoceratops. They may be small, but at least they don't knock you out. As you age, you become a real predator. You run faster, jump higher, and your teeth are as sharp as comments on social networks. You are already 2 years old, and that means that now you are about 1.5 meters long, with your tail taking up almost half of it, perfectly balanced, like a gymnast's barbell. About 50 centimeters tall. Well, yes, that's not too impressive, but don't forget, small but mighty. Weigh 15 to 20 kilograms, like a large dog or 2 sacks of potatoes. But your real trump card is your claws. The sickle-shaped claw on the second paw reaches 7 centimeters. It is so sharp that it could cut pizza, if someone invented it. The life of a velociraptor is constant movement. In the morning, hunting; in the afternoon, snack; in the evening, discussion of who caught more and who is cooler. The diet includes small herbivores, lizards, eggs, and everything that can be stolen from someone else's nest. You mastered the tactics of hunting with other raptors. One distracts the prey, another sneaks up, and the third suddenly attacks. It's like in the modern world. One distracts the guard, the second picks the lock, and the third takes out the TV. There were also failures. For example, once you decided to hunt an ankylosaurus. Not the best idea. Its tail turned out to be so powerful that you flew several meters away, crashed into a tree, and then spent a long time explaining that it was a strategic retreat. One day you met her for the first time. Her name was, let's say, Rapti. Smooth scales, sharp teeth, and such expressive eyes that you seemed ready to fight for her even with a Tyrannosaurus, although the idea, frankly, is not the most reasonable. To impress, you decided to bring her a gift. You grabbed the first prey you came across, a small Protoceratops. The problem was that it was alive and escaped from your clutches right at the moment of the presentation. Rapti laughed, and you blushed. You and Rapti became a family. She laid several eggs, and you proudly guarded the nest while she went hunting. Well, proudly, of course, is an exaggeration. You guarded the nest more, afraid that any passing pterodactyl would drag away your future heirs. When the babies hatched, you realized that being a parent is a real quest. They always tried to run into the bushes, chased everything that moved, and tried to bite your tail when you tried to rest. You tried to teach them to hunt, but they were more interested in who would run to the nearest puddle faster. And yet, it was a time of happiness. You became a real master of hunting. You and Rapti formed a pack where everyone acted as one machine. Hunting was your element. One of your most successful days involved attacking a Protoceratops. These dinosaurs weighed more than you, but they weren't very smart. One of them tried to run straight into the swamp, and the other just froze in place as if hoping you'd think he was a statue. As you got older, you realized that being a velociraptor wasn't just about hunting, it was about protecting your territory. One day you encountered another male who clearly decided that your territory suited him. It was like an action movie. Claws, teeth, jumping, squealing, but he was younger and weaker than you. You won, but left with a few new scars and the realization that age was catching up with you, and that your strength wasn't as strong as it once was. As you got older, you slowed down. The jumps are not the same, the claws are not so sharp, and the sense of humor, on the contrary, has become even sharper. When young raptors came to listen to your stories, you would say, "Once I jumped over a hole 20 meters wide, and what happened there? Another hole." You became a legend among your own. And one day you lay down under a tree, remembered all your adventures, looked at your descendants and realized, life was good. This is your end. Your descendants will continue your path. You lived to the maximum, like a true velociraptor. Millions of years later, people dug up your bones. They looked at your remains and wondered, why does this velociraptor not have feathers? And you would say, yes, this Milas simply did not draw them.